Welcome to Vision Plus, a program featuring a positive outlook, dealing with everyday situations of marriage, children, and business. Believing Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Teacher, author, speaker, delighting audiences from New York to Sacramento with a heart and message for the people today. Bonnie would like to remind you of the 800 number on the screen. Please feel free to call at any time throughout the broadcast and share your concerns. Leave your prayer request and someone will pray with you. And now, teacher, author, and speaker, Bonnie.
Hello and welcome. You're watching Vision Plus. Without a vision, the people perish. We have to get a vision for what we want to accomplish and then go for it, act. And one of the persons that did that is Martha Witt. You're going to get to meet her in just a moment. I do want to say that we have a couple of things we want you to know about. And don't forget that any of you that like a donation, this book, Backstage, about what happens in country music, country and western music backstage. It's kind of almost like a book you could put on your coffee table, because there's lots of pictures of Elvis and B.B. King and Hank Williams and all those Southern guys. I guess B.B. Southern, don't really know. Maybe Las Vegas, we'll call that South. But we're glad that you joined us, and we hope you have a wonderful. If you know of people that want to know a little bit more about the history of our country and how maybe you can personally be involved and chart your ancestors all the way back to the Revolutionary War, which this lady helped me do, and we'll show you how to do that. I want to welcome you, Martha Witt.
Oh, thanks, Bonnie. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
She's a regent for the Daughters of the American Revolution. She's going to tell us about that. And also, coming up at the Valley Hills Country Club, we're going to have a wonderful, exciting time that you may find out whether you would like to be a member of the DAR, Daughters of American Revolution, or even the Sons of American Revolution. We'll tell you how to get in touch with those people, too. But first of all, tell us a little bit about the Daughters of the American Revolution, which you guys just helped me accomplish very recently, so I don't know a lot. I'm just learning.
Thank you, Bonnie. Actually, the DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution, was started in 1890. Wow. 18 women who were daughters of Revolutionary War soldiers decided that they needed to keep this history alive. They started the first meeting with the DAR, and the DAR now is in all 50 states and other countries besides.
It's amazing. You've
it's
the
amazing.
American Revolution, but the other countries, maybe they moved there from America or had relatives.
Yes, you have to trace your heritage back to someone that was involved in the Revolutionary War, either a patriot or even a mother that would have assisted in some way during the American Revolution.
We actually, Tony, my husband, and I actually went to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania through the archives and found where my relatives were, and we in fact ran off what they did there and where it's located and some history books, and so that was good.
I know, and it's exciting
but you don't
to
have
know.
to do that. We just did it because it was fun to us.
I know, and so many people have gotten interested in genealogy and trace their American heritage back. I have done that, and I'm still working on it because we can all find so many members of our family to trace their heritage, and it makes life exciting.
It does.
To know that where we came from, our roots, and that's important for everybody.
Mm-hmm. It always interests me in the Bible. They have like 14 generations to this, to Abraham, and 14 generations to Jesus, and so forth and so on. And they tell who begot whom, and so forth. So they were interested in. I forgot to turn the phone off. If that's okay, Tony, will get it. Somebody calling for you there. Well, tell us about this meeting at the Valley Hills Country Club and who you have and what it's all about.
Well, we have 4 chapters. A chapter in Athens, Alabama, Decatur, Alabama, the Huntsville chapter in Huntsville, Alabama, and the Twickenham chapter here in Huntsville. We get together each year in November and have a luncheon, and it's called the National Defense Luncheon. We have a speaker who is somehow related to the military field, and we have them choose a subject matter. This year, Nancy Billings, regent of the Twickenham chapter here in Huntsville, has chosen the speaker this year. And the speaker this year is,
I know he's a colonel,
yes,
and he's got Coy Hallmark, I think, and he's going to be talking about patriotism then and now. That
Yes.
should be interesting, because a lot of the people, my senior in high school granddaughter actually learned a lot from taking her to Washington, D.C., just to see in person the Lincoln Memorial and all of the things that we can see there, to see a lot of our history that's for real. And we can go and see that ourselves. So I can hardly wait to find out the difference of patriotism then and now.
well, that's how I feel about it. I'm anxious to know. I have no idea exactly how he's going to tie everything in, but I know that Nancy says that she knows him personally, and he is going to be a really good speaker. We're looking forward to it.
I know that it will be good also. And Valley Hills Country Club's so pretty, and the food is going to be so incredible. Now, if people are members and haven't been very active, I know that the one that actually was one of the first people that recommended that I belong, in addition to my cousins nagging, encouraging me to be a part of DAR, she's never been back since the day I joined. So maybe I won't call out her name, but if you are a member and haven't been going, call and get reservations to go. And they can get reservations through Winona Switzer. She pronounced it Switzer?
Schweitzer, I
Schweitzer?
think. Winona Schweitzer at 905 Tannehill Drive Southeast, Huntsville, Alabama, and that's 35802.
And it's $20 a person for the beautiful meal and the wonderful speaker at the gorgeous Valley Hills Country Club. So it'll be a great time. It starts at 11 o'clock in the morning. Most can get there by then. Or even if they have a job, they can come for a long lunch hour.
That's true, and don't forget, the husbands are invited. The
That's
men
right.
are invited too.
Mhm.
They're interested. They can send
And
their
if they-
$20 in.
That's right. Well, my granddaughter, who's a college student, she's 21, she wants to be a member of DAR, and so she plans to take off work and come. She works for a doctor, then she also goes to school, so she's very busy, as most of our young people are today. But if they have an interest in learning more about our history of our country, this would be a good time to go. Now, how long have you been a member, and what got you interested?
Since the late 1980s, and I had no idea that I would even have any relatives that had fought in the American Revolution. And a friend of mine, and kin to by marriage, had told me at a funeral, I went to a funeral, and she says, "Ann, you know that you are eligible to be a member of the DAR." And I said, "Oh." And she told me other things that I might be eligible for too because of my heritage, and I got so excited. So I decided to become a member of the DAR, and fortunately I was able to not have to really prove anything because my lineage on my father's side had already been proven.
Oh my.
And so it really was easy for me and people can find it so that their families have already been proven, and it does not take very long then to have your papers approved.
Well, mine was not that simple. Even though my cousin belonged, I still had to, my biggest challenge was locating my mother's, anything about the birth certificate of my mother and dad, because my dad's born 1900, mother 1904, and I couldn't even find where they got married. I wish they were around. I'd kid them about that. I can't prove you got married, but I finally found it. Went back to the county where they got married in Greene County, Arkansas, and near Missouri, right on the border almost, in Paragould, and was able to get it from the courthouse there. And they were so nice about helping me, both this chapter, because I met at the library, and she would help me fill out my papers.
Yes.
And then if we had anything, it took, I think, my birth certificate and my mom, well, proof of their birth.
Yes.
And their wedding, and their death.
And their death, yes.
And so I think I even might have gotten that from old newspaper clippings, I'm not sure, or out of the Bible. I know there were several things in the Bible. So that's why I encouraged my granddaughter, and even my son and my daughter, go ahead and do it now. You might not be so interested, but what about your children or grandchildren? They might be
They
interested.
might be, yes.
And you can just help them out and leave them a legacy of something they've done. Now, tell me what a regent does. Sounds important.
A regent has to do just a little bit of everything. A regent has to choose a committee chairman. She works with the board, which there are members of the board and different chairmen. We promote education, preservation of history. As DAR members, we honor those in the veterans. We honor American history teacher. We support our children through the JACs, American History. The JACs is Junior American Citizens, and this encourages young people that are in high schools around the country to participate in different, like art. They have different subject matters, and they write poetry, essays, short stories. It's a wonderful opportunity for them to be a part of the JACs and the Daughters of the American Revolution in this way.
I think they can win awards.
Yes, they do, and
By
certificates.
writing essays.
We had 4 national winners from Huntsville alone.
Whoa.
From our chapter, Huntsville
my.
chapter. We were so excited. Last year we had a National American History Award, and this was very unusual considering there's 77 chapters, DAR chapters, in Alabama alone.
Oh my.
On the national level, so you have the 50 states and all of the chapters in every state, so you would have over 4,000 entries that one person was going to be chosen from. So that was really an honor for our chapter.
Yes, it was. Now, you are interested now, and a lot of the people are retired that are part, except for the younger ones. And I will never retire. I write books and do the TV show and do lots of things. But you did other things before getting involved. Tell us about your pre-DAR days. What did you do?
Well, I worked in the decorating field, and that's what I went to school for. Then
The
after
what field?
the decorating field,
Decorating. Okay. Oh my
interior
goodness.
design.
Maybe you can give me some help here.
I don't think so. You are such a wonderful interior decorator. Everything
But
is
also
lovely.
the financial services.
Yes, I worked with
Yeah.
financial services, and I worked at First Investors Corporation. I'm retired now, and but I still work. And I love DAR because
When you
it
say
gives
you
me
still work, what do you mean?
I work with DAR.
Oh, okay, you really do, don't you?
And I have rental property that I have to keep up. And so I do a lot of physical work as
Uh-oh.
well as DAR.
Mm-hmm, yes. Well, I went to someone's home. I never did find out where we were, but it was so beautiful and such an incredible luncheon that they had, or hors d'oeuvres.
Uh-huh.
And, it was so beautiful. So there's a lot of marvelous people that you can get acquainted with.
Oh, yes. It's a great way of being involved in the community.
I can't imagine anyone that says they're bored or they stay at home. I think there are so many. I taught UA Huntsville last year, Ollie, the lifelong learning, because I taught over in the Philippines, and I got here and I thought, well, how could I continue this, and found out about this lifelong learning. So there's something you can do to, it doesn't matter what your age is.
Absolutely not.
I mean, this, if you just came and helped other people find their heritage in DAR, that would be good. And
We have girls that are in their 80s, very active in DAR. So if you're 18, at least 18 years of age, the Daughters of the American Revolution would love to have you as a member.
Mhm. In fact, they're called junior, or what are they called?
Yes, they're called junior members.
Junior members. And you're especially looking for them to carry on the
We
heritage.
need them.
Yes, because they bring new, fresh lifeblood to the organization.
And that's our history. That's our
right.
history.
We do. We want to know where I came from. Of course, my dad always teased. He was a preacher and a farmer, and during the Second World War, the German prisoners of war, about 400,000 came to the United States, and 30 of them worked on my dad's farm. And he used to kid us about, we said, Dad, where are you from, and what's our heritage? And he would kid us about being from England or somewhere, Wales and Black Dutch and Ireland, and Heinz 57 heritage. But he said that his ancestors were told you can either go to jail or go to the United States.
Oh.
I don't really believe that, but he said it keeps you humble.
Well, they made a good choice if they came here.
Very good choice, they did. But actually, I could have gone several directions to go through the Gardner family, my mother's family, and then that was her daddy, then her mother through the Dollisons. Both of them went back to the DAR, so I could have gone either way. But the one was easier than the other one because somebody had taken the time to write down who married whom, and I went to a family reunion very recently. There's a place called Romance, Arkansas. I'm not making that up. That's the real name of it. Near Little Rock and Harding, Searcy, Arkansas. And one of my cousins had 8 3-ring binders this thick on the table in the room we were going through history, and so many DAR members I had found out later, and that about the history, but it was so interesting to find out. There was a Gardner car, and there was a Gardner railroad, and there was one of the Gardners was supposed to marry this witch, and the mother broke it up. Things you never think about finding out about your ancestors. So that's fun of the DAR.
Oh, it is. It really is.
And so how did you got convinced to join? Then you were president at one time.
Well, we call ourselves regents.
Regents. Oh, it's not, okay, it's the same as a president.
It's the same as a president.
Right.
Yes.
It's the boss.
Yes.
And you have to find all the committee members.
Yes. Yes.
And you had something wonderful while I was in Dallas, but something recently you did that was so exciting when I got back and read the email about it.
Well, we had a training session for one thing, and then we had our Constitution Week
Okay,
celebration.
tell me a little bit about that.
Well, every September the 17th, we have bells across America rum, and we have First Baptist Church ring their bells, and we have a meeting at Constitution Village, and we ring the bell there. This is a joint effort between the Hunt Spring chapter here in Huntsville, Twickenham, and Huntsville chapter, our chapter. This year we were the host to getting everything organized, and Chris Cooley, who is the chairman here at the Huntsville chapter, was responsible for getting everything organized and together. And then the 22nd of September, we had a constitutional luncheon where all three chapters met and had lunch, and then we had the Calvert family that came and did a skit, and the Calvert's daughter wrote the skit, and the skit was about the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and it was really, really good. They're homeschool children, and we recognize homeschool children as well and encourage them to enter our contest as well as the public schools.
Mm-hmm. So you learn a lot about yourself and your history and your own personal heritage.
Yes.
And then a lot about our country.
Yes.
And why it's so great, and why the people want to keep it that way.
Absolutely.
So I've been concerned a little bit about, I wish I knew more about the First Investors and your work there. Can you give us a couple hints on what we need to do to keep our money? We get at least almost 1% for our savings.
I know it. I have some money that I have to do something with, and I wish I had that crystal ball. We all do, that we would be able to see in that crystal ball to know what to do. This last problem that we've had with our economy was, I think, a surprise to everybody, and it would be very difficult for me to know which direction to go at this point.
Mm-hmm. I know back in the other depression, I don't remember anything about it. I was born at the end of it, and a very happy time because my mother and daddy loved me, and my four brothers. Well, most of them did. We had a cotton patch, and I had to go outrun them. I could outrun them. They would beat me up if I didn't. But no, they wouldn't. But we're typical siblings. But we had an incredible. But I can remember Mother and Daddy actually putting money under the mattress because they didn't know. Well, banks went under.
Yes.
I know of one bank in Nettleton, Arkansas that was family owned and made very few loans, I guess, and they stayed in business. They never went out of business during the whole depression. But I read in an email the other day that they expect over 400 to go under, mostly small banks and regional banks. And one of them, my cousin lives in Albuquerque, and one's already gone under there and closed his doors.
Well, I would imagine that we may have more banks to go under at this time. When you have money in the bank, you just don't know how safe it is, especially if you're only making 1.5%.
Yeah.
I was lucky. I did put some money into some savings that were drawing, 4.5%, almost 5%. But that's going to come to an end. It's really difficult
to decide what to do next. So at this moment, you're not giving us any advice as to what to do.
If I knew, I would.
Yeah. Well, what we decided to do, we took our 401k had gone down to, as I said, every dollar was worth at least a quarter or 20 cents. And so we ended up paying off our house just so that because we didn't know, we thought, well, at least the house will be paid for.
I know. And at this point, I wouldn't want to be in a lot of debt.
No. I think
That would be very
need
bad.
to work on getting, I know Dave Ramsey, Tony and I teach that course at the church, and he says, sell those, get rid of those expensive cars, get you a clunker until you can afford a better one that you pay cash for.
Absolutely.
And they're talking about, because that's what our heritage was.
It was
My-
saving. Everybody needs to save instead of living off of credit.
That's right.
Yes.
Just
know?
pay off those credit cards and get rid of any debt you have and do without.
Absolutely. We don't have, our children do not have to have everything that it took us years to get.
They won't
And we
have-
just didn't
they
even
won't-
think about having all of the
You
things
have
that they
children?
have. Yes, I have 2 daughters.
And where do they live?
They live here in Huntsville.
And do they have any children?
I have 1 grandson. He's 27.
And the cute, most handsome guy in the world. I
Oh,
know
he
that.
is.
Yes,
He
more than-
is.
Mine is, and he's 25.
Oh,
But
I understand.
he has a band and works at a real job and goes, well, I think he's going to go back to school, but he wrote me the most wonderful note. I tell you what, I told my son, I said, if I'd known these grandchildren would be as great as they are, I'd had them first.
I know. My grandson, he graduated from Auburn
Did he?
with a degree in wireless engineering. And I am
Wireless
so proud. Yes.
engineering.
He
Okay.
graduated a couple of years ago. He's working at his first little job. And now,
Not little. Say
well,
his name.
his big job, yes.
Okay, say his name so he might want to watch.
Chris Legg.
Chris
Chris
Legg.
Legg.
Hey, we knew some legs down around Birmingham. Well, I am so happy.
Oh.
So let's just recap why you're actually here, even though we
Yes.
got off on a few other subjects. My fault. Colonel Coy Hallmark speaking
Yes.
on patriotism.
Tism then and now.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And that will be at the Valley Hills Country Club, November the 9th.
Yes. At 11 o'clock.
We'll know who the new congressmen are, all those things.
We
by then.
will.
November the 2nd, we'll all go out and vote and make sure that we do
Absolutely.
that. Don't you sit there on your couch and don't go vote. I better see a I voted thing on everything every one of you. If I see you and you don't have one on, you're in big trouble. I'll come after you. I'll tell your name. Gladys, you better do this too. And all of you that are watching. I'll tell on television, I didn't see your I voted on. You'll be in trouble. So, no, we want to encourage everybody to be a part of our heritage, and part of that is voting for who's in office. We put them there. We are the one at fault. If you didn't vote, it's all your fault. And even if we did vote and don't like who it is, still they're the leaders, so we need to support them.
That's right, and if we do not agree with them, then we try to get them voted out.
Amen, that's right. And so, if you'd like to know anything more quickly, you said the DAR has a website?
The DAR does have a website, but if you would like to get in touch with the Huntsville chapter, call me, Ann Witt, at 256-536-9059, and or email me, jameswitt11@msn.com.
Why have I been calling you Martha Witt?
My name is Martha Witt,
Okay.
but Ann is the name that I always went by, but legally, everything now is Martha Ann.
Oh, Martha Ann. Good one. I'm Bonnie Liphart, along with Tony Liphart. Bless your heart for watching.